Hello, 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 everyone. Thanks so much for coming to hang out once again. I'm going to sort of be bold and assume that you can hear me and see me, but some thumbs ups, as always, would be reassuring. I'm really excited about today's special guest, Mr. Andrew Small. But before I sort of introduce him to you, I just wanted to say a few things about what's been going on over here. So in the last month or so, it's been really nice for me to introduce to you the members of my musical family. Last week it was Tom Farmer, and then before that Ivan Eames, James Madron, Mike Chillingworth, and today's guest Andrew Small is no exception to that. While I've been talking to these people, lots of work has been going on behind the scenes. These kind of collaboration things, they take time. Even now, musicians are quite busy, so been trying not to rush things, but loads of really exciting collaborations going on. Yeah, there's a couple that I can tell you about, actually. I'm really excited. I've been doing a couple of tracks with an amazing vocalist called Brigitte Beraha, and she has written these amazing lyrics to one of my songs, and it's just completely transformed it, so I can't wait for you to hear that. And also Kit Downs has contributed some amazing piano on a couple of tracks as well, so those things are all to come in the coming weeks. And next week I'm going to have a chat with Tim Garland, in whose band I played for a while, so that's going to be next week. It's going to be great. Anyway, today we have Mr. Andrew Small. Now, you have heard Andrew Small play. If you have heard the song Sing It Back by Moloko, you probably have, right? That's Andrew on that track. And he's done a load of, really stupidly high profile work, and we're going to talk a little bit about that together. Whenever I see Andrew, we are always recording or rehearsing or videoing, so there isn't always a lot of time for me to ask him about all his experiences in the past. But some of the things he's done include being musical director for Kylie Minogue for many years, and he's played with Massive Attack and loads of other crazy big stuff like that. He has very graciously donated 4 videos of his band. I am in all of them, and so thank you very much for that, Andrew. If Andrew does tune in, then maybe we'll be able to have Q&A. But if not, then any cues I will try to A. All right, I'm going to hand us over to my interview that I did with Andrew in the last couple of days and edited it together. So I really hope you like it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jerry, Pauline, Adam, Amy, Annalise, Eric, and anyone else who I can't see. Yeah, cheers. I hope you liked this one.
So what we're doing? We're talking about what? Give me a heads up.
Talk to me about Yummy. This is the one where I got to trade with Gary. There's a really fun groove to blow on at the end.
Yummy stood out on the first album simply because it was the only song that was actually written in advance of musicians turning up to record it.
when you initially called me, Andrew,
Yeah.
it was only because one guy pulled out, second guy pulled out, and then this other guy you tried wasn't free, and another guy wasn't free, and you called me and you're like, yeah. So it seems all roads lead to Ant.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you said.
Man.
But
But now your family.
yeah,
Your,
well,
your
exactly.
furniture.
Yeah.
Now your
Totally.
furniture. I can't do a gig. Man. It was late 2018. I'd released my album, the first time I'd released something of my own, March, and I decided to rent a rehearsal studio for a few days and just record the band playing, a full-on 10-piece band on some occasions with additional, 3 vocalists playing stuff from the record. The guy that played on the album originally, he just got a gig he couldn't turn down. So I think at that point, I had about a week to go. When I get the news, I'm in a rehearsal, and I put the phone down, and I'm like, I've just got 10 musicians, 3 camera people, an engineer, 3 vocalists, ready to do something next week, and I've lost the guitarist, and the music's not exactly straightforward. And so I looked, the guitarist in the room at the time, I think I might have had a tear in my eye, and I said, I've just lost, I can't believe it. I need someone to play guitar for this session next week. And he went, oh, do it. I thought, oh, great. So then, I breathe deeply and it's cool. And then I send him the charts, I send him the stuff. He says how amazing the charts are, and I'm relaxed, so it's great. So I think it was 2 days later. He then calls me. He's just got the most ridiculous gig in Vegas. There's no way he can turn this down, right? Yeah. So he's got this gig in Vegas. I'm really sorry, Andrew. I can't do your thing. So at this point, I think that's a Friday. This must be a Friday. Or we're starting on Monday or something, right? No.
Yeah.
It's a Friday, and we're rehearsing at my place on Monday to start recording on Tuesday. That's what happened. And
yes.
And then he says, I know this guy. Oh, don't worry, I'll find your guy, this guy. And he sent me a couple of names, but I don't know why you, when I watched the YouTube clip he sent of you, that I thought, he went, look, this guy's ridiculous reader, incredible soloist. He'll be all over it. It's not a problem. So I kind of went with it because I trusted his judgment. I can't remember the clip he sent me. It was really like, I thought, wow, okay, this guy can play. And we got to, you came to my place and we rehearsed at my place, right? It was like a morning and afternoon at my place.
Yeah.
And you got 10 tunes to learn, but you walk in and you just, you're all over the tracks. And I remember saying to you that I thought I couldn't really hear you in those rehearsals. It was weird. And the awesomeness that is Ant Law.
No, man. No. Well, the thing is, for me, right?
Right, Karen.
For me, I was just going like, I don't think I'm doing a good job. I'm getting quite cold vibes. So then at the end, you were like, oh yeah, listen back. Yeah, you played well. I was like, cool. Because normally I'm quite a needy, I need reassurance. I need to be told, and yes, you're doing well, Anthony. Right. So anyway,
the fact that you had your hand on the parts. And I think I said to you that I couldn't quite hear you because we had the thing with sound and the ears and we were trying to get it all together. Yeah. And so, but then I got back after those sort of 3 days and brought the multi-tracks up and just hit play at home. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this guy's completely crushed this gig. He's nailed it. I can't believe with that amount of time that you came in and just played that stuff like that. I just can't. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, I just like to issue a footnote, which is that,
what's that?
You said I'm a great reader. Just in case anyone's thinking of calling me for something last minute.
He's an amazing reader.
I'm gonna now. I hope that Isabel Griffiths or whatever isn't watching this. She probably won't be. But normally I need a bit more notice, and I think luckily I had a couple of days.
Sometimes you can be a victim of reputation because people have a perception of who you are and what you've done and where you might have arrived in life, and quite often it's so far removed from reality, it's kind of a bit weird. Sometimes people assume when things are that well organised that there's some massive media machine behind the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And they don't realise that I'm sat here not sleeping and, you know, staying up most nights, you know, until stupid, you know my life, my existence normally.
Yeah.
So that can be difficult. So I think sometimes people expect more because they think that I might have done a couple of gigs that are decent, that somehow I'm set for life and everything's really rosy, when that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. When we initially spoke, I mean, obviously you hadn't heard of me and I hadn't actually heard of you. I'm really glad that we did start working together because it's been really fun. And, you know, so, you know, looking forward to doing more and everything. But yeah, so I hadn't heard of you, but then you're talking about reputation. Gradually, when other people who I play with were like, oh, I saw you doing Andrew Small sing, and I was like, oh, cool, you know Andrew, and everyone was like, yeah, it's like, you know,
Really?
Andrew Small kind of thing, you know.
That's really funny.
Particularly drummers, you know. What was the best thing about being musical director for Kylie?
The best thing was her, actually.
Right.
I said to her at the time when I was working with her, and actually, it actually ended up on as a clip on one of her DVDs. That when I first got the call to work with her, I was like, "Oh no, Kylie Minogue! Oh no, you're kidding me! Oh no!" That was my first thought.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting because everybody that I meet that's met her, or spent time with her, working with her, everybody that I meet, you mention her and the reaction is identical. Everyone's like, what an amazing human being. What an incredible human being. And aside from the fact she's really, really lovely, like really, she was genuinely lovely to me. Like and not just to me, but to everyone that's around her. She's a genuinely lovely person. So you sort of see the celebrity persona, and you wonder in many cases if it's genuine, if it's real. But she's a genuinely lovely human being. It was really great to get a sense of how important it is to entertain an audience. And I think sometimes as jazz musicians, we can neglect when we're trying to bring the audience into what we're trying to convey, we don't always think about entertaining them. Sometimes we think about educating them, enlightening them, but not necessarily entertaining them. And I think that's different. I think it's a different thing. So doing that gig, I think just getting a sense of, you know, there's a reason that light comes on at that point. There's a reason that dancer walks across the stage there. And it wasn't all my cup of tea, I'd say, because I'm at the end of the day, it's all about the music for me. But it was brilliant just getting kind of the inside track on what the thinking is behind creating that spectacle, you know. It's not simple as like, we'll play a few songs in this order and we'll turn a few lights on and that's it. You know, I think that was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome that you were part of something on such a large scale. Must have been really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was great, and it was great because the band was amazing. The band was amazing, and what was great about doing a gig like that, working with her, was that you know that I'm quite particular about stuff. You know, you're smiling like in a very funny way. But,
I am,
yeah. I'm quite particular, and I like to be particular in terms of where particular there's detail, but at the same time, I want us to go off and express ourselves. It's almost like I want my gig to be a jazz gig with a pop mentality in terms of entertainment and detail, but at the same time, I want us we improvise. It's not this very fixed kind of identical thing. That
Yes, it's a balance, I think.
doing that gig, it's like the perfection of it is amazing. I would spend a tour where we might play 80 or 90 shows, right? Or maybe I think we did on one occasion we did more than that, maybe like 120, 130 shows on a tour, and I would spend 130 gigs trying to find ways to play the gig better than I did the night before. And on that kind of gig, it is about making it near identical to the night before, and more accurate and more on it. You've done the theatre thing, you know, it's like, it's very similar to the West End thing.
Right.
It's about playing the gig identically, perfectly. Before you hit the road, you're on autopilot. It's not like one of those things you've got a couple of days to get together. So I mean, even before working with her, more established artists, you're rehearsing for 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Wow.
Before you go on the road.
Yeah.
There was, there was one band, I think we used to do a month, just the band. No, sorry, we did 2 weeks just rhythm section. Then the brass section will come in, and I think we'll do a week. I think it was like, and then the final week vocals will come in, and then we'd go on the road. And then you get production rehearsals. So maybe 3 or 4 days where they build the stage, put the lights up, and then you have 4 days doing that, where you run the show exactly as it's going to be, and then you do a gig. By the time you've done that, you are on autopilot.
Yeah.
You're literally, so in terms of like a Kylie gig, things didn't tend to go wrong.
Do you remember you told me about one thing where you were triggering a cue?
Yeah, so
that's funny.
So it was Manchester MEN Arena. It's live DVD recording night.
Yeah.
I'd been reading the manuals for some of my gear, and I thought, oh, there's a better way I can organise the programming.
Yeah.
And I decided to do it on DVD night, for DVD night. So I think we played the first tune in the set, or it was like a segue of maybe 2 or 3 tunes. And then Kylie, she's out front, she's a bit of banter with the audience, and she goes, I think there was a vocal cue, she says something, I meant to start the track. She says her usual thing, I press go, and nothing happens. It doesn't play. And so I'm not even looking. I know where my button is. So I press the button and nothing. I don't hear the click. I'm thinking, press the button again. Don't hear the click. I'm thinking, hold on a second. So I look down and the machine's not doing anything. It's not moving. I'm like, oh, wow. So she said her cue, and then I've got a talk mic that goes directly to her in-ear monitors. I'm like, I'm trying to be really calm.
Yeah.
Because you've got 15,000 people thinking,
yeah.
why? I'm trying to be really calm. So I'm like, yeah, so Kylie, slight issue. Just talk for a bit. I'll sort it out. Don't worry, it will happen in a second. So she the professional she chats a bit.
She buys you time.
Yeah, I'm pressing. I'm pressing. I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, what? So now I'm starting to sweat, but I can't go to her. Oh my gosh, it's gone wrong. You can't do that. Yeah. So she turns around again. So we're ready. I'm like, just a couple more minutes. I'll be right with you. I'm trying to be really calm, right?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of went. It felt like about 3 minutes. It probably wasn't that long, but it felt about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I think my tech discovered what happened.
Yeah.
And we went back to the old version, press play, and it worked, right?
Okay.
So that was that. The thing about being an MD on that kind of gig is the buck stops with you, really.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it's like no one's going to look at the tech and go, why didn't it work? Or look at the sounds and what's going.
Yeah,
they're going to go, Andrew, and say, Andrew, why did that go wrong? And I kind of embraced that kind of responsibility, which is why, you've met me, you've seen I'm quite particular. In that scenario, you have to be particular because basically things can't go wrong, You don't, when I'm on that kind of gig, I don't expect to make musical mistakes. You know, I don't expect to drop time. I don't expect my playing to be anything other than essentially flawless. So if a bad night, I might do a gig and it felt horrible and it felt really weird, but to anyone else, it would still be, hopefully, be on a level whereby it appears to be complete.
Yeah, the lowest sort of level is...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the things that went wrong.
So when you first called me about the Sensible sessions, maybe we should
we'll
queue up one of the videos in a second. Yeah, so maybe you can talk about one of them, but or we've got maybe three, I think, that we'll share, because they're short enough we can share three of them. But so when I initially heard from you, I just thought, okay, cool, yeah, this guy wants to go and do some recording, and one of the things that happened where you were like, oh yeah, it's going to be, you need to have a line signal. There's no amps because that's how we're recording. So if you got a fractal, last guy used a fractal. I was like, yeah, no problem, yeah. And as soon as we got off the phone, I was like, yo, Andy, can I borrow your fractal again? At that point, I didn't have a fractal or a Kemper or a Helix or whatever. So I was borrowing one off a friend, but through the theatre, you know, if ever I need a mandolin or a banjo, there's usually someone, well, it's normally this guy called Nico Sabatini.
Okay,
amazing guitar player. I'm like, yo, Nico, have you got one of these? Can I borrow this? And he'll go, yeah, sure, just come and grab it, kind of thing. Very
great player.
kind. So,
great player, Nico, yeah.
Cool. Really great player. But anyway, so there I am, you know, with the fractal and all that, and not really knowing the scale of the operation. And then, you know, so I thought, oh, this is just going to be us, like a couple of us in some small studio with some camera people. And then I get there, and then there's like Carl van der Bosch, Steve Turner, Gary Sanctuary, and then I'm just going, pretty sure I've heard of all these people. I wonder why. And then I think, like, maybe it was on the way back home from the first day. I was just sort of like Googling people, and I was like, oh, these are those guys. I'm glad I found out sort of after a day in the studio. But I mean, the caliber of the musicians and also the scale of the operation. It's one of the things I like about you, is there's an old school thing. You're like, if we do it properly. So let's play a video from that session, and you can see, hopefully you managed to find a couple of shots of me where I don't look completely panicked at the music.
We're all panicked though.
We're all quite panicked.
Don't you remember those sessions? We were stressed. It was stressful.
Yeah, I was stressed, definitely. I don't know about anyone else, but yeah. What about...
Okay.
Is that the school run?
Yeah.
What's the school run about?
School run was based on me trying to get my daughter out of the house, in the car, and to school on time. And it's just about literally the panic, the fact that it's a really stressful thing to try and make happen 5 days a week. That's basically it. With all of the artists I've worked with, one thing that I've noticed, especially the more successful ones, they just do not care. They just do not care what anyone's got to say. They're so driven.
Yeah.
They're just so, you know, they're so focused. They've got their vision of what their thing is, and they're just going for it.
Yeah.
They're not sitting in their house with 7 albums worth sat on the computer, scared to let anyone else hear it.
Yeah. And there's a good lesson in there for anyone who, not that anyone's asking, but you
Yeah.
know, like when you release something, you reflect on it, and it forces you to challenge it. You know, you send it to people. Some people will say, "Yeah, great." Others will say, "Terrible." Others will say, "Oh, I really like this, but I'm not sure about the mix." You know, and and it's good to just be realistic, and you're gonna be dealing with people. It's really important to be able to disagree with people, I think. And
Yeah.
you know, even outside of music, maybe there are conversations which need to be had. Like I certainly don't want to start talking about politics and all those sorts of things, but having a conversation is the most important thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, just realizing not everyone is going to share your view about stuff.
Yeah.
Massive Attack is it's a really weird gig in many
Okay.
ways. I was playing with a band called Moloko, which is another electronic band.
You still get PPL because is it you on Sing It Back?
Yeah,
You do
man.
some drums on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I initially auditioned for the gig because I knew a couple of guys in the band anyway, and I didn't get the gig.
I just want to pause there for a sec.
Yeah.
So that's great, man. Even you would have been to auditions and not got the gig as well. I can edit this out if you
Seriously,
prefer.
man.
But
Hold on a second. I did so many auditions and didn't get the gigs.
wow, okay,
I got
cool.
I got I got fired from so many gigs.
Oh my God. Okay, so the lesson is persevere, right?
Well,
It didn't dishearten you, or maybe it did, I don't know. Tell
my
me, how
first
was that?
my first ever professional gig, right? The MD on that gig just said he just kept saying there was me and the sax player. I've told this
Yeah.
story before. He kept saying, "You're rubbish, you know. You're rubbish. You're rubbish." We'd be playing. He'd look across. He'd shake his head. Andrew, what are you doing? This is terrible. You're up. And I just thought, I've just left my job. I'd left. I'd done my degree. What did I do? Yeah, I did the degree, and then I worked for the civil service.
Ah,
You know, for 18 months, and I thought I can't do this.
yeah.
I need to play. I need to have a go at this. And the first gig you do after you've just left your job, someone's telling you you're rubbish. It was deep. It was very, very deep.
Yeah.
The guitarist on that gig was really encouraging, and it was him that sort of said, he took me to one side and went, "Look, come do a couple of gigs with me. Don't listen to that. Just come do a few gigs.
Yeah.
It's fine, right?"
Okay.
So that wasn't a great experience. I remember getting called to do a gig. There was an agent, and the agent, I'd done other work for this agent, and he got me the call for this gig, and I walked into the room, much
Yeah.
like you said you felt at the sensible thing, right? And I'm like getting like a really cold vibe from every other musician in the room. And I'm thinking, what's that about? Because
Yeah.
by this point in time, I'd been doing bits, so I was quite confident. So I played, did the rehearsal. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm doing the rehearsal. And the MD came to me the end of the day and went, this isn't working. Don't come back tomorrow. You know? And you're like,
Wow.
okay. So you pack your drums up and you go home.
Yeah.
Right? There was a guitarist. He was
Yeah.
on a gig. We're in rehearsal. He's playing. And the MD slapping his hands and going, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong. Actually,
Oh my God.
physically,
That is meant. Sorry, I got low battery. I
that's
love
cool,
that
cool.
story, man. I
Yeah.
love that story. I'm glad no one's ever done that to me because that would make me livid.
Yeah.
But
So physically slapping this guy's hand, saying,
yeah.
no, 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 that's wrong. That's wrong. Up at where MD's going to me, no, Andrew, you got to play, not, I'm going to play in front of the click. I want you to play just behind the click, but not so far behind so that it feels behind, just so
Yeah.
that and you're like, okay, I've been on recording sessions, and this wasn't the producer getting to my head. This was me not being able to necessarily create the feel the producer wanted back in the day. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm on a session, he's going, it needs to feel laid back. And I'm like, okay, and I play it. He went, no, it's got to feel laid back. Okay, and I play it again. No, it's not right.
Yeah.
And then he just went, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the click. And he just delayed the click. He goes, right, play right on it. And I played, great, that's it. So
Wow.
there are ways, so I've always been, this thing, time and sound has always been what I really care about.
Yeah.
Great time that feels really great, a sound, making the instrument just feel really, really good. That's always been my focus, especially doing the pop
man.
thing. So you were saying about me not getting the audition, and that's weird. And I'm trying to say to you that, man, I flunked loads of auditions.
Yeah.
You know, and your response is quite funny. That's
the reputation again. That's the reputation.
That's what I'm saying about reputation.
Yeah. Tell me about. Oops.
Yep. Persevere. So
that's a great one. That.
Yeah, but that funny story. There's a musician in the States I really admire. It's someone I'd worked with. Is a phenomenal musician.
Yeah.
And when I finished the record, I thought it would be good just to send him the final mixes. I sent this person a copy of the record, and he absolutely slated it. He just he wrote back and he said he just really hated the whole thing.
Oh my God.
And what was great about that experience of doing that and getting that response was it's taken me a long time to pluck up the courage to put myself out there and create something and actually make it available to the world.
Yeah.
And what was great about getting that response was just the fact it completely bounced off me. I didn't actually care that he hated it.
Okay, good.
Genuinely, and not just like, I don't care. It was like,
yeah,
all right, I love it. I like it. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's good. It made you,
Which is great for me, because normally I'd be very insecure about that. In the years gone by, I'd have been like, oh no, I can't release this. Oh no. It was before it was released, I think, as well. I was like, oh no, he thinks this incredible player thinks it's rubbish. And I genuinely was not bothered, which was a great, I thought, I actually don't care. That's brilliant. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I'm really proud of that album. So yeah, that was a useful thing. That tune. He specifically said he hated that tune, Persevere.
Wow.
He really hated that one. He made a point of saying he thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
So
Well, his judgment is poor.
Did you get that where people just hate your music?
I don't think I hear about it. I mean, actually, I have had one or two interesting reviews over the years. There was one where they compared the album to a boring episode of Bargain Hunt. But I mean, the thing is, that's such a sort of weird thing that it was quite funny. But then it was really sad because people. I think I posted this review because I thought it was quite funny. But then people started Googling the journalist, and they found these clips of him playing in a kind of pub band and were posting them and really slagging him off. And it became like this kind of mob.
No, it's not good.
Yeah, it was a bit nasty. It was like, guys, look, I mean, come on, not everyone's going to like everything. You know, like, that's okay, right?
You know what, for me, it's right that people don't like everything. It's right. You don't have to like everything.
Yeah.
I think it's great that people will come out to find out if they like something or not. If you've made the effort to come out your house, sit down, and make a judgment, and make your own personal judgment about something. I think that's really, really healthy, to be fair.
What are Andrew and Arlene Small's Netflix recommendations?
Okay.
Amazon TV or whatever is fine. We're trying not to use Amazon. We're trying to hold out against
Really?
Jeff
Jeff Bezos?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, there's some things you can only get on Amazon, so sometimes it's hard. But anything to watch.
You know I don't watch much telly, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a workaholic. What's been great about lockdown, later lockdown, I'd say, in the last 6 weeks, maybe 5, 6 weeks, I got myself a bike, and so I've been going out every morning on the bike, between sort of 6:15, 6:30.
Yeah.
Get on the bike. Where we live, there's loads of fields around. I go for like an 8 mile ride in the morning. It's been amazing. In order to do that and still function during the day, I've been going to bed early, so I haven't watched much telly. I got into at one point. Oh, sorry, it's the Amazon Prime thing. Sorry, mate.
That's fine. That's fine.
But there was a This Is Us, which is a very. You've watched that?
No.
It's kind of like a very feel good. It's the story of a family with adopted kids, and it's a bit of a tearjerker. So I was kind of into that for a while, and then that kind of stopped. I think I got into video mode and working again, and then I just watch the odd movie with my daughter. Have you seen Trolls 2?
No.
Trolls.
Is it a Pixar one or something?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that with the little one. That was good. And we watched something else. We watched it was one of the Shaun the Sheep ones the other day, and that was really cool. And then other than catching up with Match of the Day on a Saturday, I don't actually, it's a very boring existence. I don't actually watch much telly.
If people do want to know a bit more, where's the main place to keep up with you?
My website's probably the best place.
Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on the Crisis Zone. And
I'm humbled.
No, man, it's been great. Thanks
Genuinely
for sharing
humbled.
all these stories. Yeah, looking forward to doing some playing and hearing the new record.
There's going to be a new record. You're going to be getting a call. We've got to start doing some more stuff.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Stay safe.
You too.